Yeah, so I'm living with a condition called post-SSRI sexual dysfunction. Sexual dysfunction is one of the most common and reliable side effects of SSRIs. In fact, 50 to 70% of all patients taking these will have sexual side effects. What patients are not warned about is that these side effects can be permanent long after you stop the last drug dose. And PSSD is not just low libido, it is a full nervous system injury in which you lose total sexual function neurologically through essentially nervous system damage. So the hallmark symptom of PSSD is genital numbness. Yes, like complete loss of sensation in your genitals. For me, I clearly hate to talk about this, but my clitoris is completely numb as if it's the back of my elbow. I have no sensation internally. I'm 23 years old. Sufferers also lose the ability to orgasm permanently, like for the rest of their lives, and their libido entirely, which for me and what a lot of other people experience is like a sudden onset, like chemical asexuality that just never goes away. And in my opinion, I don't think it's sensational to say that this is a form of chemical castration, that it is permanent. But beyond that, PSSD is not just a loss of sexual function, but a loss for some people of emotional function as well. That has been the case for me. Before this, I was a super emotional, empathetic, loving, caring, like Sylvia Plath reading and resonating girl. And the day I woke up with this injury, I quite literally felt my soul leave my body. Like, I'm so serious. It was the most unbelievable, inorganic thing I've ever experienced, and it's a common symptom of people who have this condition. To this day, it's been years for me. I'm 23 now. I can't feel love from my own mother, which is the hardest thing on earth. I can't feel connection or love for my friends, or even pleasure in music, which was the bane of my existence. I was a songwriter since I was a child. It was my outlet. And it's been completely neurologically severed from these medications. And I just like to say there's a reason that, you know, every song on the radio, every movie on your television, every piece of art since the beginning of humanity centers on sex and love. And not just romantic love, but platonic, familial love. And that is because these are the most central, intoxicating, worthwhile, and fulfilling parts of the human experience. These aren't luxuries. And to remove someone's ability to participate, not just physically through sex, which is completely horrific on its own, but to remove someone's ability to emotionally connect with another human being is a crime against humanity. And I say crime against humanity because there is evidence that Eli Lilly, who created the first SSRI, Prozac, knew their drugs could cause permanent sexual dysfunction and emotional numbness in children especially. And they withheld this from the public because they knew it would be a threat to the bottom line. I mean, I hope I'm not the only one who believes that there's nothing more criminal or dystopian to withhold from patients and parents of patients that your medication can permanently chemically castrate and emotionally numb its user for the rest of their life. PSSD is not on the drug label. It's not even in the fine print. I quite literally had no way of knowing that this was possible or that this could happen to me. The FDA actually received a citizen's petition from sufferers in 2018, begging the risk be added to the label, and it was completely ignored. I took Zoloft in 2022. If this correction was made, I would have had full informed consent, I could have chosen an alternative, I would have been spared from the most inorganic, inhumane suffering I could have never imagined. I mean, we think these parts of us are immutable, and I'd argue that they are, but when you introduce a chemical agent so, like, perverse, these things that are so central are able to be removed, and it's horrific. But what makes PSSD so torturous is that we've been blindsided, betrayed, and maimed by the industry that we were told and instructed to trust, and we trusted fully given we took these medications. And now we've been offered no way back to our lives or humanities. I'd like to add, I think it's pretty clear I don't want to be here. I hope it's not surprising that I feel so deeply humiliated and dehumanized to share to a group of strangers in the press and inevitably the internet that I've quite literally, I'm like sexually defunct and emotionally lobotomized, which is the antithesis of who I was before this. I'm a senior in college at Vanderbilt. I go back in the fall. I'd rather my peers not know this about me, but this is what the situation requires. People with PSSD, everyone on the stage has had to forgo their dignities, their privacy, to be able to fight for recognition so that we might be able to find the help we need to regain our lives and humanities. Had I known that this medication had the capacity to cause permanent loss of sexual and emotional function, I would have sought alternatives. Had I known SSRIs are prescribed off-label to chemically castrate sex offenders, I would have never taken this medication. Had I known that the leading sexual medicine doctors in the world are finding SSRIs cause fibrosis of the genitals similar to elderly patients with cardiovascular disease, I would have never taken this medication. But that decision was made for me because of pharmaceutical greed and regulatory failure that has kept the general public in the dark about the truth of these drugs. I am hopeful, though, that this administration might correct what has gone egregiously wrong here. I am grateful that this administration is the first to seriously and thoroughly look into the devastation these medications are causing. But more than anything, I'm hopeful that this condition may be recognized, which it has been in many other countries, and funding might be allocated to research what is driving it, because there is evidence that this may be reversible with intervention, and we as human beings, I think we can agree, deserve a road back to our lives. Losing your sexual and emotional function is not trivial. In fact, these things are why we're on Earth, and many young Americans have ended their lives due to the hopelessness of PSSD. Young 20-year-old women and men like myself have ended their lives because I think we can agree life is not worth living when you can't feel it or participate in it. I'm here to represent them and their families and show that these medications are far from benign. People deserve to know the truth. And beyond that, people should not pay with their lives for trusting the medical system wholeheartedly like everyone on the stage did. And that's why I'm here today, and I hope that everyone in the everyone in this room can be receptive to what you hear today in this room. You're going to hear a lot of information. And I hope you can realize that there are people on the receiving end of the suffering who committed no crime but trusting the instruction that we've all been given, which is to seek help and trust your provider. And I think it's time we challenge that, or at least push back and look into what that entails. So thank you for having me, everyone, and I hope that you are receptive to what you hear today.
Thanks, Lauren. I know that that's a really tough thing to be putting out there. So I just want to say thank you, and thank you because you're telling that story for a lot of other people too. And same goes for all of you guys.